take the chance to talk a bit about some of the recent changes to Carryover, but also take the chance to step back a bit and go through some of the basics of Carryover as well. As you may know, there were some changes to the Carryover rules announced in November last year, 2012. This followed on from work undertaken by the Carryover Review Committee throughout 2012. Committee which comprised of representative irrigators, largely the chairs of water service committees, as well as water corps like GMW, the Environment, and the Resource Manager. If you're interested, there's more info about the committee and the process on the Water Register website at waterregister.vic.gov.au. So look, the first thing I wanted to do was just highlight some of the key changes that came out. So the key things I suppose to be aware of, the change in the Murray spill rule to a spill rule based on Hume Dam rather than Dartmouth Dam, a new cap on the amount that can be carried over based on your full entitlement volume, a little dot point there which I'll talk about, noting there's an extra year's extension for Murray irrigators for when that new cap comes in, and a couple of minor changes around getting tariffs right so that people always pay when they store more than their entitlement volume, and allowing users to choose to return unused allocation to the pool if they don't want to carry it over. There are a couple of other changes to be aware of that are not directly about carryover rules but are related to carryover and your options. One's some safety nets on inter-valley trade as a way to try and avoid the sort of sudden trade suspensions we saw in recent seasons, particularly from the Goulburn to the Murray, which can interfere with people's business planning, and some changes around the early reserve which came into place on the Goulburn recently and will come into place on the Murray to account for some of the efficiency that's being made through the modernisation program. The changes around the new trade limits are already in place. They came in place late last year. And then most of the changes come in around the end of this year. From late this year, if you don't want to carry over water, you'll be able to apply to return it to the pool. And then at the end of this year on the Goulburn and Campaspe, this new cap comes into effect. And from 1 July, we see the changes to the new Murray spill rule, the changes around reserve policy, and the minor changes around tariffs. The one point to note, as I mentioned, the extension to when the new cap comes into place on the Murray system, that doesn't apply until 30 June 2014. So we've tried to make a reasonable effort in providing fact sheets on the changes, but also particularly this new carryover calculator tool that I'm going to work through a bit today as a way that people can go in their own time and play around with scenarios and help improve their understanding of carryover.